What if there was a system so ancient, so powerful, that it was said to hold the secrets of creation itself, a hidden map of the universe, a divine code passed only to the chosen few, while the rest of the world remained in the dark? This is not mythology. This is Kabbalah, the esoteric heart of ancient wisdom. But you've probably never heard the full story, because for thousands of years, Kabbalah was hidden, restricted, reserved only for the initiated. It wasn't meant for the masses. It wasn't even taught publicly until recent centuries. Why? Because it holds knowledge so powerful, so transformative, it could dismantle everything you think you know about reality, the soul, and the very nature of God. And in this video, we're going to open the gates. You're about to enter a realm where sacred symbols meet quantum energy, where ancient Hebrew letters are more than language, they are frequencies, and where divine light is not just a metaphor, but a blueprint of existence. This is not religion. This is the structure of reality itself, and by the end of this video, you'll understand why the ancient mystics protected this knowledge so fiercely, and why the time has come to reveal it. Black screen, glowing text appears. The hidden power of Kabbalah begins now. Part 1. The origins of Kabbalah, wisdom before time. Long before organized religion, long before temples, churches, or written scripture, there existed a whisper passed through sacred breath, not ink. A current of knowledge older than civilization itself. A mystical code that revealed how the universe was born, how energy flows, and how the human soul mirrors the cosmos. This is the origin of Kabbalah. Most people believe Kabbalah began in medieval Judaism, but its roots reach far deeper, into the deserts of ancient Mesopotamia, into Egyptian mystery schools, and into the lost teachings of the early Hebrew mystics. Kabbalah is not just Jewish mysticism, it's cosmic architecture. It's the secret science behind matter, mind, and meaning. Even the word itself holds hidden meaning. Kabbalah comes from the Hebrew root, KBL, meaning to receive. But what is being received? Not dogma, not belief, but direct transmission from divine intelligence. The earliest Kabbalists didn't write books. They meditated in caves, they studied light, sound, vibration. They saw the universe not as chaos, but as sacred design. They spoke of the Ein Sof, the infinite, boundless source of all creation, not a god in human form, but a cosmic intelligence beyond form, name, or thought. From the Ein Sof came emanations, ripples of divine energy, that unfolded reality into layers, dimensions, and worlds. This process was not random. It followed a sacred structure known as the Tree of Life. 10 spheres, 10 energetic forces, 10 divine attributes through which infinite energy became form. Keter, the crown of divine will. Chokmah, wisdom. Bina, understanding. And so on, each sphere a stepping stone from spirit into matter. This was the map of everything, not just of the cosmos, but of the human soul, because according to Kabbalah, you are a microcosm of the universe. Each part of your consciousness corresponds to a divine force. Your emotions, your thoughts, your desires, they all reflect this tree of life. You are not separate from God. You are a mirror of the divine blueprint. And this is the secret the ancients guarded. Because anyone who truly understands this system doesn't just gain knowledge, they gain power. Power to transform reality, power to heal from within, power to connect with the hidden layers of existence that most people never even sense. This is why Kabbalah was considered dangerous. Not because it was evil, but because it was empowering. And those in power have always feared what empowers the individual. So for centuries, this knowledge was hidden, passed only from teacher to student, in whispers, in shadows, in silence. Because once you see the code, you can no longer be controlled by the illusion, and now you are beginning to see it too. Part 2. The Tree of Life, Blueprint of the Soul. At the heart of Kabbalah lies one of the most powerful symbols in mystical history, the Tree of Life. Not a myth, not a metaphor, but a spiritual map of existence. It's called the Etz Chaim in Hebrew, 10 luminous spheres called Sephirot, connected by 22 paths. But this is not just a diagram, it's a mirror of the universe and a mirror of you. Each Sephirah represents a specific energetic force, a divine attribute of creation flowing from the infinite source down into form. Let's begin at the top. Keter, the crown, the purest light, divine will before it takes form. It's the seed of all creation beyond time, thought, or boundary. Chokmah, wisdom, the masculine force of expansion, pure creative spark, unformed energy, the divine impulse to express. Bina, understanding, the feminine principle, the divine womb. It takes the raw impulse of Chokmah and gives it structure, order, form. These first three form the supernal triad, the realm of pure spirit. But the energy continues downward. Chesed, mercy, loving kindness, generosity, infinite expansion. Gevura, strength, judgment, discipline, boundaries, structure. It tempers Chesed because even mercy needs limits. Tiferet, beauty, the center point, harmony between mercy and judgment. It represents balance, truth, spiritual heart. Netzach, victory, endurance, persistence, emotional drive, momentum. Hod, glory, intellect, logic, reason, the structure of thought. Yesod, foundation, the bridge between spiritual forces and the material world. The subconscious realm, where patterns are imprinted. Malkuth, kingdom, the final vessel, the physical world, where spirit becomes matter, where divine light is grounded into form. But here's the deeper secret. These 10 Sephirot are not just cosmic forces. They exist within you. When you feel compassion, you activate Chesed. When you set boundaries, you express Gevura. When you integrate both, you radiate Tiferet. When your inner forces are aligned, you walk the path of the tree. And each path between the spheres represents a journey, a lesson, a transformation. This is not a belief system. It's an energetic technology, a precise architecture of consciousness. And the ancients knew that if you aligned your inner tree, you would unlock the full potential of your soul. Because your life isn't random. It's a reflection of the energetic blueprint within you. Every challenge you face, every emotion you feel, every choice you make is part of the unfolding of this tree. The goal of spiritual evolution, according to Kabbalah, is not to escape the world, but to illuminate it, to climb back up the tree, from Malkuth, the physical world, through Yesod, Hod, Netzach, toward Tiferet, Bina, Chokmah, until you return to Keter, the infinite source. It's a sacred ascent, not away from life, but into its deepest truth. And that journey begins within. Part 3. The Power of Hebrew Letters, Frequencies of Creation. What if letters weren't just symbols? What if the alphabet itself was a cosmic code? In Kabbalah, the Hebrew letters are not just tools for writing. They are frequencies, vibrational gateways, living forces that shape reality. There are 22 Hebrew letters, and each one corresponds to a unique vibration, a divine current of energy. The ancients believed that God created the universe not through hands, but through sound, through spoken vibration, through "let there be light." Because sound precedes form, vibration precedes matter, and these 22 letters were seen as the building blocks of creation, the DNA of reality itself. In the Kabbalistic text, Sephirot, the Book of Formation, it's written, "By means of 32 mysterious paths of wisdom, God engraved and created the universe with 3 elements: letters, numbers, and sounds." The letters were not chosen randomly. Each one has a numerical value, gematria, a shape, a sound, and a spiritual meaning. For example, Aleph, the silent breath, the beginning of everything, divine potential in stillness. Bet, B, the house, the vessel, structure to hold light. Shin, SH, fire, transformation, the spiritual flame that burns illusions. Yod, Y, the smallest letter, yet the seed of divine spark in all things. Each time you speak a Hebrew word, you're not just making a sound, you're activating a chain of energy. Even the sacred name of God, YHVH, Yahweh, is not just a name. It's a formula, a vibrational pattern through which spirit descends into matter. Yod, Yud, the divine spark. He, H, breath and expansion. Vav, the connection between realms. He, H, again, manifestation in form. It's not just theology, it's metaphysical engineering. That's why, for thousands of years, the pronunciation of the sacred names was kept secret, because to speak them unconsciously would be to activate energies beyond your control. This is also why mantras, chants, and sacred sounds appear in every spiritual tradition, because sound carries structure, and structure shapes reality. In Kabbalah, some mystics would spend years meditating on a single letter, because through that one shape, one sound, one vibration, they could access entire dimensions of wisdom. This isn't fantasy. Modern science is now proving what Kabbalists always knew. Sound waves can shape matter. This is called cymatics, the study of how vibration creates geometric patterns in physical substances. Sand, water, particles all respond to sound frequencies. So imagine what happens to your mind, your body, your energy field, when you speak, chant, or think using sacred frequencies. The Hebrew letters ... the divine names, the combinations used in Kabbalistic rituals. They're not just prayers, they're energy codes, aligning your being with the structure of the universe. You are not just a listener of sound, you are a generator of frequency, and the more consciously you use that power, the more you can reshape your inner world and the reality around you. That's the secret the ancients tried to protect, because a human being who understands vibration becomes a co-creator with the divine. Part 4. Why Kabbalah Was Forbidden. The hidden threat to power structures. If Kabbalah reveals the architecture of the soul, if it teaches how vibration shapes matter, if it shows you that you are not a follower, but a co-creator of reality, then ask yourself, why was it hidden? Why was it forbidden for the masses? Why were entire communities told they weren't ready or worthy to access it. Because Kabbalah does something that terrifies every system of control. It liberates the individual from external authority. It teaches that you don't need a priest to reach the divine. You don't need dogma to understand reality. You don't need permission to awaken your own soul, and that's dangerous. Dangerous to religion, dangerous to political empires, dangerous to any structure built on obedience and fear. You see, knowledge has always been power, but esoteric knowledge, the knowledge of hidden laws, unseen forces, divine mechanics, that's ultimate power. And those who control the masses know this. That's why history is filled with the suppression of mystical teachings. Books burned, scrolls hidden, mystics exiled, silenced, or executed. Kabbalah was no exception. For centuries, only the most elite rabbis were allowed to study it, usually after age 40, with years of religious training. But why such restriction? Because if the average person realized they had access to divine energy, if they could manipulate vibration, awaken consciousness, and see beyond the veil, they'd become sovereign. And sovereign individuals cannot be ruled. So the message was changed. Kabbalah was labeled too dangerous, too mysterious, too advanced. It was cast into the shadows, while external rituals replaced inner alchemy. People were told to pray without knowing why, to obey without understanding, to follow without questioning. But the true spiritual path is not about following, it's about awakening. And Kabbalah wasn't meant to enslave, it was meant to liberate. That's why many believe it shares roots with Hermeticism, Egyptian mysticism, and even Eastern philosophies, all of which emphasize inner knowledge over external worship. But the powers that be didn't want awakened minds, they wanted blind belief. So they constructed systems that rewarded obedience and punished curiosity. And that's how true knowledge became forbidden knowledge, not because it harms, but because it empowers. Because once you realize you are the vessel of divine energy, you stop playing small, you stop seeking outside approval, you stop being manipulated by fear, and you begin to live as you were always meant to, as a conscious creator, a master of your own inner temple, a radiant force of spiritual intelligence, and that is exactly what they never wanted you to become. Part 5. Activating the Kabbalistic power within you, real application in the modern world. Now that you've seen what Kabbalah truly is, the question becomes, what will you do with it? Because Kabbalah was never meant to be just studied. It was meant to be lived. It's not just a philosophy, it's a spiritual technology. And once you understand how it works, you can begin activating it within your daily life. The tree of life is not just a cosmic diagram on parchment. It is a living system within your consciousness. Each moment you choose love over fear, you activate Chesed. Each time you hold healthy boundaries, you align with Gevurah. When you stand in harmony, truth, and compassion, you become Tiferet in action. This is not abstract, it's energetic alignment. The more you bring awareness to these inner forces, the more your outer reality begins to change. And that's not magic, it's universal law. Even your words become powerful tools. Remember, Hebrew letters, sound, frequency, creation. The more intentional your speech, the more precise your vibration, the more aligned your life becomes. You can begin by meditating on a single Sephirot each day. Visualize its energy, feel its presence in your body. Notice how it manifests in your behavior, your thoughts, your relationships. You can work with sacred names, not to control reality, but to harmonize with it. Chanting, breathwork, vibration meditation, these are not modern hacks. They are ancient keys. Keys you now hold, and as you work through the tree of life, you begin to transform your inner architecture, from chaos to coherence, from reaction to radiance. You begin to see through illusion and remember the divine intelligence running through all things, including you. Because here's the greatest secret of all. You are not separate from the tree. You are not a student of the light. You are the light, learning how to shine again. The mystics never wanted you to memorize doctrines. They wanted you to experience reality as it truly is. Vibrational, sacred, interconnected. They wanted you to feel the divine in your breath, in your voice, in your very cells. And now that you've remembered this ancient wisdom, you'll never look at the world the same way again. Because when your inner tree awakens, the outer world becomes your temple, and you begin to live not in fear, but in frequency, not in doctrine, but in divine alignment. That's the power of Kabbalah, and that power now lives in you. Final CTA. In the next video, we'll decode another ancient mystery, the real meaning behind the Eye of Horus. A symbol that has transcended time, but few understand its real power. You'll discover how it connects to higher perception, spiritual protection, and the science of intuition hidden in sacred geometry. So don't miss it. Because symbols are not decorations, they are codes. And the Eye of Horus is one of the most powerful codes ever known.